Mike in Mind, Hudson Hot, Scotty Blaisdell, Alan Wagner, Celebrity Therapist, LMFT, gang!
Howdy.
What's up?
Howdy and aloha.
Howdy and aloha. You liking my fit today, Scotty?
What
Is it
in the
taking you
world?
back?
This takes me back. I remember there was a guy who came in and actually did that, right? Like cut your shirt.
Oh, yeah. And he just
Yeah.
wasn't anybody. I mean, back in we're going back. We are going back today to the 2000s. I thought we
Okay.
would do a little nostalgia because we've been going back and talking about some of these cool things that we did, when we had our morning radio show on for, 20 years in Hawaii and all these memories. And this was a big one for me, Scotty. This one, because we made a television show and I thought, why not bring the guy on himself from Ed Hardy, Adam Sachs? Do you remember
Adams,
Adam?
Wow.
Adam, what are you doing,
Uh,
man? Where are you?
Legend.
I'm in Bali yeah,
In
very early in
Bali.
the morning.
Oh, wow.
What
Oh my
time is it,
God.
Adam?
Yeah.
It's 1 a.m. I think.
So
Yeah,
are
it
you
isn't
still
that
up?
late. I mean, this is a 24-hour town, but
Okay.
I've just fried today. And Hudson had contacted me a few hours ago and said she's doing this thing. I said, I'll do it. Let's go.
Yes.
So sorry my camera's not on. I'm not camera ready.
Listen,
That's
it's
And
okay.
okay.
1 a.m.
yeah.
and plus I have a feeling are we still seeing scantily clad women getting all cut up with your scissors? Is
Around
it
me.
still
Yeah, around me for sure.
always?
Well, I don't think rest of us are doing that. So, let's talk because a lot of folks are hearing this just audio, so they don't really see what it is that Hudson's wearing. How do you
Oh,
describe what you do, Adam?
well, let's say in Hudson's case, we put a garment like t-shirt on her back in the day. I would take a pair of scissors and just start slashing it and slicing it and dicing it and twisting it and pulling it and turning it into a couture piece of artwork or just a
Yeah.
thrashed
Let's
kick-ass. Can I swear, by the way?
You can
yeah,
say that.
Yeah, totally.
yeah, yeah, totally.
I
You're
can
doing
say
fine.
that. What can't I say? Let's talk
Yeah.
about that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so that's it. And and the first time I ever did it was 2001. Very spontaneous, kind of totally unplanned situation. Someone had asked me to cut a shirt at a trade show, a fashion trade show in Las Vegas, and I said, "Yeah, I can do that." So I found some scissors and I started cutting her at the booth, and I drew a huge audience. And because I was a wardrobe stylist already for 11 years consistently, I'd know how to like work with fabric and models and move the body and be on the fly and then tweak things out. And so this was just such a natural act for me. And when I was done with that shirt, there was a huge audience circling around me, and I got applause. And I look over to my buddy. I'm like, "Yo, this is it." He's like, "I can see." I got a tap on the shoulder. It was two more girls. They're like, "Can we get one?" And the line formed, and I did 189 shirts in 4 days, eight
No,
hours a day.
crazy. I remember when this all started, and it was all the it girls had to have these cut up
Yeah,
shirts, let alone not to just have. I mean, it wasn't even about getting you to do it at this point. People just wanted the shirt, okay? But
Yeah.
when you showed up to the party, it was a mob scene. You came to our studio, and at the time, you were doing it for Ed Hardy. Everyone
Mhm.
remembers Ed Hardy was the biggest damn brand on the planet, right?
Yep.
yeah. But I started it before Von Dutch.
Yep.
Then I went to Von Dutch because right when I got home from that show, 1 week later was September 11th,
Oh, well.
and I moved to L. I was in San Francisco, based there for 11 years, and then the .com had crashed, and it was already dying. And it just drove all the prices went up, and all the art and all the artists started to leave San Francisco because it was such an amazing city for decades, and so historical, and with artists and musicians and free thinking and all that. And then the prices went up, and when the .com crashed, the prices did not go down. And so artists like were jumping ship right and left. And then when September 11th happened, it was like the final nail. So I was like, I'm out. So I pieced out. On September 13th, I moved to LA, and I moved in with some friends of mine that had already left about 5 months earlier from San Francisco. And they're like, get your ass down here. And, so I went down there, and I was like, all right, I need a job. So I had portfolios for doing fashion styling. And that's the route I went in the very beginning. Like the first days I was there, started making phone calls to all the styling agencies. And they're like, yeah, we're not taking on any artists until we're the end of the year, at least, because we're in a war right now. We don't know what the fuck, which way's up. So I had this business card that was left over from the trade show a week earlier, and it said Mike Cassell Von Dutch, owner. And so I called the dude, because he's like, dude, if you're ever in LA, let us know. Like, I'd love to, like, do some stuff with you, because this is incredible. He watched me for 3 days. And I'm like, so I called him. I'm like, Mike, I'm in LA. He's like, oh my God, we've been talking about you and waiting for you. He's like, can you come down? When can you come down? I said, I'll be there in an hour. So I went down there. He's like, showed me all of their denim and everything. And they said, by the way, I'm getting to the how Ed Hardy became Ed Hardy, but this was how it all started.
It
None of
all
these
started
brands would have with me, single-handedly. Yeah, it started in Vegas. And so it started in Vegas with me doing that. And then this moment when I came to the store, he's like, we have all this dead stock in the back of in this warehouse behind the store. And take some jeans, a couple pair of jeans home and retool them and do your thing. So, all right. So I took them home. I worked them, put grommets in, beat them up and everything. Brought them back the next day. He took everyone off their desks, because they had the executive offices above the store. And they brought them on the design table, and everyone was there. Sorry, my speaker. And they're just like, they're like whispering among themselves. And, yeah, so we can do this. Yeah, we can re-put them and reproduce them, because we had thousands of dead stock, thousands of pairs of denim. And I just pull Mike aside. I'm like, hey, bro, I don't want to do jeans. Just want to cut shirts. It's like, oh my God, you want to just cut shirts? Okay, great. Everyone back to your desk, back to what you're doing. Takes me downstairs. She says, there's a wall of t-shirts. It's like a huge wall of Von Dutch t-shirts. And he's like, these are all yours. Just give us $5 and you can charge whatever you want and customize them. And we'll make you a cutting station in the entrance of the store. So I had this Makita, like Snap-on tools, killer, like
Dremel
high-end fucking like tool rolling shelf cabinet thing. And that was my cutting station in basically on the sidewalk outside the front of the store of the entrance on Melrose. And for 6 months, I was just pulling people in and saying, oh, I'm doing this thing, which I'd love to give you one. And I started giving them away for free, taking everyone's emails down, because that was like a new thing. I didn't even know how to use email, but I knew that was like the future. So I was writing down emails. And then I was taking pictures with a disposable camera of all the designs I do, because I forget I was making them up, all these new techniques and all these new styles and ways to cut them. And so I was basically documenting the designs for me, to remind me, all like what I did. So I would go and develop this film. It was a disposable. I'd cut their heads off if they didn't look good, or I would keep them if they did. And I made this huge collage, like big picture board. And we fucking drilled a hole. The holes are still in the front of the store, in the sidewalk, and we hung those things up. And I had 2 of them, and people would stop and look at them and sit there, and it was like a menu. It became like a menu. Then I was going out. Yeah.
Who's the most famous? Like,
well, that's where I'm going to get to right now.
Yeah, let's get to the celebrities that you did. I remember all of them.
So I saw I had all these hot girls coming in, getting a shirt, and they would leave. And then I would go out at night with a bag of Von Dutch shirts and hat, but my hat, I'd always be in my hat, my Von Dutch, I'd be all branded out. And I would have a bag of Von Dutch shirts. I had full access to any like VIP entry in all the hot spots in LA at the time. And I would just drop the bag down in the middle of the dance floor and cut for 3 hours like a machine. No one would stop me. And they were just blown away. It was like Vegas all over again every second I was doing it. And then I was rubbing shoulders and partying with celebrities at the after hours. And I'd be like, hey, come into my store tomorrow and I'll hook you up. And so they would come in with their kids and their families and their girlfriends and wives or whatever. And I would give them gear, hats, shirts, and they would leave. We'd take a picture and we'd have that picture for the store. But when they would go home or leave the house, they had this fucking Von Dutch hat on and we were giving away. So there was a lot of celebrities going in there. But the hits that got Von Dutch like off the ground was Robbie Williams. I had given Robbie a hat. We had like lunch and then I brought him into the store. We were going to play tennis, but we didn't. Totally cool. And he left. I gave him some hats and he went to England and was in the back of a car and had like sunglasses on and a black Von Dutch hat. And he put his t-shirt around his up over his mouth and his nose. And he looked like Michael Jackson in the back of the car, mimicking him. And that picture went viral. And that kind of started
tabloids. I remember that.
Yeah, and then Brittany came in and we did a big thing with her. But I was cutting, dude. I cut everybody. I cut Eve,
Eris, Nicole,
Paris, Nikki, or fucking her mom,
yeah.
the Hillary Duff sister, the Duff sisters, and even Brittany's sister. I cut Lynn, Eve, Mariah Carey. Went on tour with her. Just cutting. She's just and Lenny Kravitz. Lenny's like I met him in Paris. So basically, they took me upstairs, Tony and Michael, and said, you single-handedly created a market we never had, which was young hot girls in Hollywood and celebrities.
It was.
Because the girls were going in the store and the jeans weren't fitting, at all. I'm like, I don't know what else is in the store. Go take a look. I was just all about my shirts. But they're like, we're giving you profit sharing in the flagship store. Giving you profit sharing in the flagship store, and we're sending you to Cannes. And so I was staying on yachts in Cannes and all these chateaus during the Cannes Film Festival, and I was like hitting and running all down the La Croisette and getting all on the Getty Images with all those like gift bag events and stuff. And that's when you started hearing about Von Dutch. And because of all that, I started part owner or whatnot. And then we hired Christian Audiger, and he did very good with distribution. And that's what brought it to like more like a running machine. I left upset. He left upset. 2 years later, he starts Ed Hardy. And about 6 months in, I was hanging out with a girlfriend of mine, and I look, and she had a hat on her shelf, and it was all this embroidered fucking mess. It was all caved in, and I was like, "What is that?" He's like, "That's Christian's new brand." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! No way, he's doing something new." He left. I didn't even pay attention. I was like, I didn't know what he was doing. I had moved to American Apparel at that point. I was working with Dove, but I go and say hi to him, and he's like, "You still cutting?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You want to go get?" He's like, "Show me." So we took his little store manager, cute girl, did 2 cuts in it. He's like, "Oh, you want to go again?" I'm like, "Let's go." He said, "On one condition, this is not Von Dutch. We're doing it Hardy." I said, "Great." So we did a great 8-year run, and we had to double down, on that, like giving away hats. We had to give away 10 hats. Because the cat was out of the bag. That strategy that I invented of giving it to celebrities, it was pretty much me and this girl Daisy doing that on the daily. And so when it came to Ed Hardy's time, we had to give boxes of shit because it's just the way it was. And but that's how I met Hudson.
That's how we met. You came out to Hawaii. And I think you came out numerous times to do parties.
Numerous times with Flash and Maddie.
Flash. And I did a bunch of those with you in Flash and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember like crazy
those
wild
the fucking days, man. Those were the days. Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Then I became really close with Beth.
Beth Chapman.
Yeah. And Dog. And she's invited me to be on the show and do a whole segment with the Dog the Bounty Hunter. That's kind of the whole show was kind of with me.
Yeah. Scotty and I have never seen that episode of the three of us.
Long. We're on there long. It's like half the show is us.
Right.
How,
Yeah.
okay, you're gonna have
The
to
other
send
half
me
is
the link.
catching
I've
a
never. Do
crystal
you have
meth
the
cat.
link?
What's that?
Do you know how to find it? I've never seen that thing.
I don't know where to find it, but I don't. Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good. She was amazing. She is so cool. Yeah,
But
she died.
I
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
know.
Fucking tragic. Like, how did that happen? What the fuck?
yeah. Cancer, right?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Adam,
Um,
what
but
brought you to
yeah,
Hawaii? Like, what was the thing that brought you out there? How did you guys all meet?
I think Flash was my client. He was a very large promoter. He's now took her job, I think. Uh, but yeah, he's like club promoter doing like a lot of all the hot spots.
Yeah.
And him and I hit it off very well, like massively. At least to this day, we're like brothers. But and so it was always about promoting his events with me. And so he had, Honolulu's and Waikiki's quite a pretty tight knit network of people that are doing things, okay, media and or events, and they're very supportive in every way. And so I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hudson. Oh, was he even doing? He had a podcast or something on there, didn't he?
He
With
did. I think.
Malaki?
Yeah, I think he had Maleko had a podcast, right?
Maleko,
Yeah,
yeah.
they did it
Maleko, yeah, they
together.
just drank on the whole thing. They would just drink.
That's right.
That's
It
it. That's
was
all
on.
they did.
It was in our studio. Yeah, because they would
Yeah.
use the studio.
That
I'd
was
come in.
it.
It's like, what is
Mostly.
going on? They'd have a drink station set up. They'd have girls in there doing
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
mixologist.
they
Yeah.
so they were
You know,
linked up with you guys. Yeah.
I thought it was only fitting that I brought on the one and only Adam Saaks from Ed Hardy, who cut up all of my shirts at the time, because he's a legend. And we're talking about things that were back in the 2000s that should go and should stay because it feels like there's no more originality any longer. Like there's
Yeah.
only rebooted shows and things like that. The thing
Yeah.
that I'm hoping comes back, by the way, are these shirts. And
They're
look, guys,
they're never gone, honey. They're never gone. They really just aren't. It does this like kind of recycle pretty quickly. Like look at Terry Mugler like last season with
yeah,
the Bella Hadid or
yeah.
Gigi Hadid. I don't know which one. The guy went on my page and basically screenshotted all my styles
Gigi
and
had
made the whole
Gigi Hadid, by the way, just confirmed
yeah.
her relationship with Matthew McConaughey, and they're very
Oh,
cute. Yeah, she just celebrated her 30th, and she
fuck
just
yeah. All
made
right, all right, all right.
Insta official.
All right,
Sorry,
all right,
guys.
all right.
They're
Adam,
all
that's
like, they
exactly
have no idea. I'm talking a different language right now. They're not on social media. They don't care about any of that.
anytime I hear Matthew
Husband is a
McConaughey.
celebrity therapist.
Hudson, like I heard the all right, all right that Adam just said, and that's totally all I think about when I think about Matthew McConaughey.
And bongos.
I decided to think of it. It took me a second to remember what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he bit my style completely. The whole collection. It was a huge campaign, and at the end of their fashion show, they painted a dress on her, like an Adam Sachs finale kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, and so I see it. I see it. I see it. It doesn't bother me because it's not
Yeah,
the
I was going
last
to ask
time.
Adam, does
Yeah.
it feel like I don't know, plagiarism? Does it feel like you're being ripped off, or are you flattered because it is
I
imitation?
kind of chuckle at it because I'm like 10 steps ahead of them. They don't know what they're doing. They
He's been
just do
doing
what they
this,
can. They
a
do what they
long
can. I don't
time.
even know what I'm doing, you know?
But listen,
Like,
whatever it is
yeah.
you're doing it in Bali,
I
okay?
know.
Like, really? Do we need to feel sorry for you? No.
So Adam,
No, like
do
who
you
wants
live
to
in?
work like that? Who wants to do a whole collection and do the whole circuit? Like I'm so not into that at all. I pick and choose when I'm going to cut. I cut maybe one piece a month now. Maybe, yeah, and then we'll sit on the footage for a while, and then I'll post it and cut it up and edit it. And I'm about to do a next big show. I have a meeting with the officials here tomorrow. So
But
since
you
during
know what?
COVID, I did 2 shows. I made a movie, and then I launched. Then I did the religion brand, and then I did my launch show, and then I got busted big time by the government during COVID as it went viral. The next morning, I was all over the news internationally about Bali not social distancing. I'm like, we were totally open, but my show went viral and put a magnifying glass on how we were really hanging out. And I had to leave LA. I mean, I had to leave. I had to leave Bali in the dead of night and to protect a bunch of people. very, they were very embarrassed. I'm going to make a movie from this. I'll tell you what it is, what like why they were embarrassed is because that week they took a $500 million check from the UN, and they're like, we got $500 million, struggling to fucking like hanging it really high and showing the world this check, and it's for mandates, but we fucking were open. We were party. All the clubs were full, and when I did my show, it went on every platform, and it was like, oh, and they got very embarrassed because it exposed that they weren't following the mandates at all. They just took the money. And yeah, they were like, what is religion? Who is Adam Saaks? And who threw this party? And I have all the newspaper clips and all the newspaper clips, more like television,
Okay.
TikToks,
We'll
CNN.
have to totally get into this on a different podcast.
Yeah.
It's like
So anyways, I did the religion brand. I did the religion brand in LA and launched it, and I fucking headlined Miami Fashion Week, LA Fashion Week. I was on Rock.
I love religion. I'm wearing a religion shirt.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's super cool. Yeah. So I just did a religion brand, all through 2022, but I just went back to cutting. I just like it better. I don't like production. I don't like manufacturing. I don't like the hustle. I just like being on stage, cutting live. That's the center.
Scotty, you're due for a new cut up Ed Hardy shirt. But you did a religion shirt.
How are you, Scotty? Where are you? Where are you these days?
Well, we're actually all of us are in North Carolina of all places. We've all found ourselves here in unique paths, but that's kind of what brought us together. We met up in Myrtle Beach just to kind of reconnect in South Carolina, and then here's the pod, and here you are.
Yep.
Amazing. How long have you guys been doing this?
A week.
Nice.
Yeah, you're one of our first. Actually, you're a second guest that we've had.
Sorry, I don't have my camera on. I didn't.
You'll have to the next time.
Well, just imagine handsomeness. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, all of us are looking good. We're all looking good.
Adam's good people. Adam, I know it's like now 2:00 in the morning, and I know you got a crazy day. I just wanted to reminisce and talk about some of the days as we jump into being rebooted and reckless back in the 2000s. Go get some sleep. We'll have you back on, and we love you, dude.
I love you guys too.
Next time with your camera on.
Thanks,
yes, we'll do this. Maybe I'll do a live cut for you guys. I'll set it up properly.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
We'll have some fun.
Yes, bring on some really cute girls and let's do it.
I love it. All right, you guys have a wonderful show. Thanks for having me.
Love you. It's so good to reminisce with you. Come back, okay?
Will do.
Bye, boo.
Bye, guys.
The one and only Adam Saaks. Very cool.
Right? After all these years, because we're talking about the 2000s, and that was I know maybe not from you because you weren't the club guy, but I was out at all the clubs doing all the wild and crazy stuff, and he always was there, showing up, getting on a plane and cutting somebody up.
Yeah, I know you went out. I met him when he came into the studio and all that, but you were on kind of a tour with him for a little while.
I sort of was.
Yeah.
Like it was back in the days, they just did a reboot because we were getting into like some of the old shows and stuff. Do you know that they did a reboot of The Simple Life? Did you know that?
I heard they were going to do that. I haven't seen it. Is it out yet? Because they're in completely different places in life, and I'm like, what is this going to be like? Because it's not like That's Hot and all that stuff that they did back in the day.
Alan, did you ever get into that?
No, but I always remember Paris Hilton. When I think about Von Dutch and Ed Hardy and all of that stuff, I always think about Paris Hilton and Ashton Kutcher for some reason. And those are the two celebrities that come to mind. But you're right. Like when he was talking about it, I don't remember a lot of brands giving away gear to celebrities to market themselves for free, sort of, as opposed to having a celebrity endorser. They just gave it away, and it was everywhere, his products. And
he was the one that started all of that. That's why this dude started so many different culture trends in the way in fashion and nightclub life, in celebrity. He was there. He was on board from day one.
Oh, I'm
sorry. I was gonna say there's a brand now in Hawaii that I'm a big fan of, Oahu Golf Apparel, OGA. And Tim is the brother of Maddie from Maddie and Flash.
Oh, so no way.
He's connected, but he started, and he has the same kind of plan, and he goes out like he went out to the Sony Open and just gave product away. He clothes people in the product. It's really taken off, but because of that same path that, and so now you see celebrities wearing it, and he's really blowing up. And I think you have to be willing to get your stuff on people without expecting money for a while, and it can pay off if it's quality and good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, his stuff was crazy epic. What were you gonna say, Alan?
I was just gonna say, no, I mean, the visual of him like being in a club, just cutting and doing all the stuff he was talking about, just in real time, doing it live on
Yeah,
stage. It's pretty incredible. But we have to remember that, when you're talking about reboots, Hudson, this is way before social media was really taken off, like Facebook and Instagram, because I can understand like people would put things on
MySpace.
celebrity today to sort of have that celebrity posted on their Instagram as an influencer and then try
right.
to get all of those people interested. So it's sort of like advertising. But back then, he was really relying on tabloids. He was relying on just regular media to
That's
take
right.
shots of these people. Like when he was talking about in the card that Mike, wrapped around his mouth. I'm drawing a blank on his name, the British singer Robbie
Robbie
Oh,
Williams.
Williams.
Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was who he was
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
mean that's pretty crazy. I mean, and I'm just not. I apologize for not getting Robbie Williams right, but at the same time, to think that that picture is what took it to the next level, and then hearing that about COVID too. I mean, I've been to Bali. I don't know if you guys have. I wanted to ask him like, why is he in Bali? What a crazy place to be able to move, and how awesome is that? But no, I remember during that time period, it's not every place was following the mandates, and I can imagine people freaking out over that too.
It's funny because I think you were already gone, right, Hudson? Yeah, when you were gone during COVID,
Yeah.
from the islands, we had apparently the worst governor in the country as far as the way he dealt with things. There were rules during COVID that were so bizarre. Like there was a point where like, we live in Hawaii. Go to the beach, right? You'd think,
Yeah.
no, you're not allowed to go to the beach. You are allowed to go to the ocean. But
Wait,
if but if
what?
you stop on the beach, you're in trouble. So then
Oh,
people were getting in trouble for being anywhere on the sand. So someone suggested, well, go in a zigzag pattern, beach up to the grass, up to down to the ocean, down to the grass, and that way you're never stopping on the beach and you can still take a walk on the beach. It was so weird.
that is like insane, dude.
California, but Hudson, California was the same way. It was during COVID. You couldn't go, you could be in the water, but you couldn't be on the beach. And you could only have like a certain number of people on the beach with a mask, but you could take the mask off in the water. And
Mhm.
yeah, it was surreal when I think back on that.
I am the only one who really didn't feel affected, other than I wasn't able to get my hair cut or, my nails done because I actually went to work every single day. There was a handful of us that were allowed in the building. We had emergency first responder badges made. I had to immediately get a vaccination so that we could come in. It was myself, even the Woody Show. I don't remember if they came in or not. I don't think they did. I can't remember. Can you, Alan? I don't remember who was in. Um,
No, yeah, I remember
was
leaving LA at the time of COVID just because it was just so crazy.
but I just so I went to work every single day. I never took a vacation for, 2 years straight. I just
Yeah, we were the same. We had the little badges, so in case you got pulled over for being out, which
yeah.
is so bizarre, just the thought of that.
So weird,
Um,
right?
you were able to say I'm an essential,
An
I guess,
Yeah.
essential worker.
employee or
You're
whatever
an
the term was,
essential employee.
which is
Right.
so funny, right?
But
It
But
isn't it
is.
funny to see what was considered to be essential at the time? Like in California, all the dispensaries were essential businesses, but you couldn't cut your hair or go to the
yeah.
gym. It was just so
Yeah.
surreal how they broke that stuff up. I never understood it.
One of the things that did come from it, which is kind of things like this, because a lot of people were Zooming and doing things remotely. A lot of businesses found out they could work without this brick and mortar office space that they're paying a ton of money for. And then a lot of folks, and I know one of the podcasts I like to listen to, they actually started during COVID just so they could have something to do to connect to fans,
Yeah.
and they could do a
Makes sense.
podcast as well through the strikes that were going on. So there's some advantages to being able to do remote work.
No, my whole field changed. I mean, for anybody who's listening to this, when you look at therapy, there's still therapists that work in the office, but I would say I always tell people for about every 20 people who call me, only one wants office and the rest are asking me, do you do Zoom? Do you do FaceTime? Do you do, some other type of, medical platform? But it's people don't want to go drive to the office anymore and park. It made people sort of lazy. And I think it made people
Mhm.
lazy on food. They just get it delivered. It made people lazy on therapy. But I think everybody got very used to tech during that time period. And
Oh
I don't know if that's a
yeah.
good thing or
Yeah.
not, but yeah.
Well, we're thankful
No, no,
for it.
to your point, Hudson, what I was going to say was you were talking about the reboots. And I think when I think about
Well,
COVID
we were
too,
talking nostalgia and stuff. I
no,
just
but well, I
like,
was just going to say that like that was a time since all the movie theaters were closed and all the theaters were closed for plays, that everybody started streaming. If you guys remember, that was when
Yeah.
Netflix and Disney and Hulu and Apple and all of those companies really decided to go all Amazon, all in on the streaming because people,
Tiger King. That was
oh
yes,
yeah.
Tiger King was a
that
He
was
phenomenal.
one of the
just got
first ones.
remarried to one of his prison inmates. Did you hear? They just got married.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he just got married. I got you with the gossip.
Congratulations
I
to
still
him.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
But
Yeah.
no,
But
you're right, Alan. I think there
but
were a
it
lot.
Tiger.
also made it also increased the need for content.
Yeah.
So when you have all of these things, whether they be podcasts, YouTube channels, or streaming services, the amount of need for content became massive. And I
And that's
remember
what
that's when
brought
we
some of
started
the
seeing, yeah, the reboots all started happening.
and they brought all the old TV, the original versions of those back as well, because everyone started binging. And
Yep.
so people became fans of shows that maybe we all knew from TV, and it
Oh
became
yeah.
new to them. And they got, and plus you can watch 5 or 6 seasons in one go. You're just streaming every day.
Yep. No,
Yeah,
I think a lot of people caught up on Lost that way. I know that some of the reboots that
Oh
that
that's
yeah.
you've
right.
seen, like Fuller House, that's come out in the last couple of years, was a product of Full House when I was a
Mean
kid.
Girls, that came back. Mean Girls, Fresh Prince. So, but here's the thing: there are certain shows that they were great when they were out. They didn't need a reboot.
No.
Like I feel like people are not being original any longer, and they're just relying on their old laurels just to bring back old regurgitated stuff, which was great at the time. I mean, even musically, okay? And I won't say this about music because you know me, I've always loved all the emo stuff. Scotty, you and I, that's all we played for many years on our show. We were so hard into it, from My Chemical Romance to Good Charlotte. Remember
Yeah.
Pix used to cry, our producer, anytime one of these bands would come in, like My Chemical Romance. And now they put together this massive event in Vegas called When We Were Young Fest. Have you heard about it?
No.
Dude, it's everyone that we played from Fall Out Boy to, Green Day to just everyone, all the
Yeah.
bands. And
Yep.
it sells out within seconds because it came back. It was
So,
good.
so what you're saying is like the Warp Tour with those that were actually really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Because
yeah, I see clients that are like around our ages, and it's like exactly that this is like a dream for them to be able to go see those
Like
bands
Blink
all in one
182,
shot, for two
you
or
know?
three days. Yeah.
well, I think every generation has that where, you look at the 80s bands that end up touring together or the 90s, and it makes sense that it would eventually get to this point, and you can go see all of these at one venue at one time.
Yeah.
It's like a dream come true.
Well,
Yeah.
you also it makes me wonder too, just because I mean, this is I know you sound old kind of when you start to say that the music of today is blank,
Hey,
but I
I'm
will
not
say
old.
this.
Speak for yourself.
I was thinking about it because I watch weird stuff on YouTube. I don't know about you guys, but it's like when Nirvana came out and destroyed all these bands, or when Guns N' Roses came out and destroyed all these bands, I feel like we've been waiting for a long time for the next band to come out and destroy all these bands. It's a lot of carbon copies out there of bands that you
Mm.
do, and they sound familiar, and they're not bad, but they're sort of like in a way sort of similar to those 90s and 2000s bands, but just sort of a modern day 2025 copy of them. And I
Yeah,
want
and
something to
I,
come to play.
I think as well, I mean, because we now are introduced to music by people that get started on the internet, they come in with their version, or you'll hear that same kind of tone from somebody who just
It
created something to
sounds
copy
like
someone.
somebody, but it's not them. But
Exactly.
yeah,
And so it's all very similar. I know what you're saying. There's not that original, wow, look at this new thing.
But
like
think about like
Paramore. Do you remember Paramore when Paramore first came out,
Oh
Scotty?
yeah, yeah.
Holy smoke. I was so obsessed. And Amy Lee of Evanescence, again, another one.
Yeah.
Like,
What a voice.
I mean, seriously, like, so, you know, like, even now, Paramore is so ginormous. You know, I got to do their sound check party with a bunch of fans, Scotty,
I think
and
I saw a
Haley.
picture of you with Paramore. That was
Oh
really cool.
my gosh. Okay, because when they were in Hawaii, that was our show. We were
Mm,
there. That was their last stop of their tour. Their first tour, and it ended in Hawaii. And there was a cake thrown backstage. I don't think you were back there at the time because
mm,
you used to like to go do your thing. We would intro the band and then you would go and then you would sit. You didn't want to be around all that chaos in the back, but I did. You know what I mean? But I
yeah.
remember the cake and I had never gotten a chance to talk to Haley until only a couple years ago. And we talked about Hawaii, and that was such a really big moment for the band at that moment in Hawaii. And
Yeah.
so I got to relive that. And then I did her sound check, and she asked me to stay on stage to dance. And I was so excited. It was crazy. At the Kia Forum, I was dancing on stage at the Kia Forum with that. But now, if you look at it, how
Which,
big,
by the way, side note,
yeah,
Hudson was actually in the auditions to be a fly girl
it's true.
from In Living Color
Yes.
back in the day. So when she says she was dancing, it
Yes.
probably wasn't what you're imagining.
No, I never, the only time I think we've ever really brought that up, I don't even think Alan knows this. Did you know that, Alan?
I did, but no, I'm glad that we're bringing it up because I think a lot of people would definitely not know that. I've never heard you mention that
It
publicly.
just sounds so dated. I was really young. Part of the problem was I was a minor with a fake ID, and my dad was all down for it. Okay. Which he brings up because he literally, when I was underage, when I was like 14,
Yeah.
dropped me off at a club to dance because I wanted to dance. I wanted to be in everybody's music video. MTV, dude, I was obsessed. But
I didn't mean to derail where you were going. I
no,
just
no, no,
wanted to
but
throw that little.
we brought in Damon Wayans, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Damon Wayans, and he remembered me from auditioning, and I was the last cut before J-Lo. I made it to the final round, and then I got
Okay. I will say she definitely sings better than you.
she does. But yeah, but getting back to it, MTV and
Mhm.
all those things. But Paramore is so massive. Again, opened up for Taylor Swift for the Eras tour. You know how big that is. So
Right.
there are certain bands that are still big. Blink
No,
182. You know, you got Travis Barker who's embedded with the Kardashians, and then he's got that, and he's also doing now.
Embedded. That's
Yeah,
funny.
I
It's a
mean,
funny
you
way to
and
put
I
it.
saw that Snoop Dogg video last week because YouTube's become the new format instead of MTV of how people are
Yep.
releasing videos. Like Wolfgang Van Halen just released this really crazy one that's
oh,
sort of
that was crazy
Yeah,
weird.
with Robert Rodriguez, the director of
Okay,
Food
I didn't like the
Restaurant,
music. I
and
didn't like the music, but his guitar
he
playing
is the guitar player. I mean,
phenomenal.
he
Yeah.
sounds like his dad. He's insane. But
Wow.
but it's like you see that YouTube is now the new MTV. And so we've been like watching like this new Snoop Dogg video, Last Dance with Mary Jane, and they actually were able to bring in, retro Tom Petty. Even though he's passed away, they have like a
Wow.
virtual version of him singing in the song. And it's one of the most beautiful videos if you get a chance to see it on YouTube if whoever's listening to this. But we are seeing that people are coming back. Who would have thought that Snoop Dogg, is still relevant today? Just with people that are young and people that are, of our demographic.
Yeah, and look at that. When he was at the Olympics, he was one of the highlights.
He
Yep,
was
Just
my favorite to watch.
he
totally.
is such a character.
I
No,
love
everybody
him.
loves
I
him.
love Martha Stewart. I love him and Martha Stewart.
So
It's like
bizarre, but
my
awesome.
favorite.
But
Yeah.
you were not to change and pivot too much, but you were talking about reboots, Hudson. And I
Yeah.
was thinking about something that like I never really heard up until about 4 or 5 years ago, the term intellectual property as it relates to entertainment and
Yeah.
IP. And now we're seeing whether it be video games, old TV shows, movies, it's not even like they have to reboot it. They can do a prequel. They can do a whole new one, based in that universe. And
Mm.
it's amazing how, is it a lack of creativity or is it just that they have to be a little more conservative on hitting the mark, maybe because there's such a risk to making movies. It's like a restaurant, it's like how many of them are going to succeed and how many of them are going to fail. But at the same time, I am seeing a lack of creativity in the entertainment industry. And I think you're seeing reality just take over almost reality shows, which I guess is to what you said about the reboot of that Paris Hilton show. Maybe that's why.
It's on, unfortunately, it's on Peacock. And I We don't subscribe to Peacock. You know,
No.
everything's changed. I don't have cable TV any longer. I don't have a landline. You know what I mean? So there's only a couple streaming services we use, and we get the free Apple with T-Mobile. T-Mobile,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Another good, great sponsor for our show. T-Mobile.
Well,
Or the Minecraft movie. I mean, it was something that, that's been going on for a long time, and kids have been playing Minecraft as long as I can remember. And here it is. You've got this huge, huge movie out right now with Jack Black, and even the song is all over YouTube.
Jason Momoa, Scott.
Lava chicken. Have you seen that lava chicken thing on YouTube? It's hysterical. But no, I mean, I understand the intellectual property thing now, and I'm starting to see that they can turn almost any commercial, any single thing that happened into an intellectual property, and now suddenly you can spin it off into anything you want, a universe or whatever you want to call it, like the Mandalorian or any of
yeah.
the Star Wars universe.
Well, we'll have to talk about Momoa later on. We have stories.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, we do.
But here's the thing. I think what I know that we all know that everything is a business. And I think a lot of us want to think it's art and it's something for the consumer to be baffled and amazed by, but it's a business and you have to spend so much money to get your movie made and into the theaters and promote it and do all of that. You
Yep.
can't be risking the thoughtful story or the whatever. So I think it is. I think people are gun shy right now, um, to come up and spend that money and throw it away, and investors and all these things. I think the creativity is on podcasts, it's on YouTube, it's on, these other forms of entertainment. And that's why you see so many people that are superstars and celebrities that you've never heard of because your kids are watching them on
Oh, yeah.
a channel or
Killing
something.
Tony. Have you heard of that podcast,
Yeah.
Killing Tony?
I don't know that.
We didn't know that either, and it turns
Me
out
neither.
he's like the
Millions.
biggest
One of
comedian
like the biggest
the
podcasts.
biggest comedian in the world. And it's like, and nobody knows who he is. And yet
Never
you
heard of
look at
him.
his podcast, you look, he's got a Netflix show now. This
Yeah.
guy's massive. And you're right. I mean, I think people want reality. They want non-famous people. They want to get to know them. They want to connect with them. They want them to be authentic. I think
Yeah.
you're seeing, whether it's podcasting, talk radio, people are still yearning to connect with people because I think post-COVID, a lot of people don't go out as much as they used to. And sometimes
Yeah.
the connections they have are digital.
Right. I mean, look at Mr. Beast. He's actually from North
Oh
Carolina,
yeah.
He
and
is.
now he's got his TV show, and he started right there on YouTube, just doing things and not to make money, but he did it to encourage and to be giving and charitable, and people loved it, and
Yep.
now he blows up. So it's a different way to become something these days than it was back in the day.
And
I was going to
if you're
audition
listening
for
right
that show,
now, yeah, I was gonna say if you're listening right now and you want Hudson to audition for the new Beast games, they're coming up. And I was
I'm ready. I am ready. I was really thinking of doing it and sending in my audition tape. I
let
Did
her
really
you
know.
did you know have you tried a Beast Burger, a Mr. Beast Burger?
know. Is it good?
No.
Because you could order during the
Oh, at
pandemic.
Yeah.
Zaxby's. They
No, no,
make
no,
that.
no. What he's
No, no,
talking about is
Mr.
during the
Beast Burger.
pandemic, they created these little small kitchens of delivery.
Yes.
I remember even during the pandemic, I think it was Chuck E. Cheese Pizza created an artificial pizza
Yes.
because they didn't, everybody associates Chuck E. Cheese pizza with being horrible. No offense, Chuck E. Cheese. And so they decided to create a fake pizza company under
Yep.
Chuck E. Cheese. They could still sell the pizzas and deliver them during
That's
COVID.
right. That is right.
And they also had the Beast Burger ones in these little ghost kitchens, I think they're
And
called.
what they would do, because the one in Hawaii that I looked up, because I was like, where are they coming from? And it was from Buca de Beppo.
Oh,
The
no way.
They were using their kitchen to make the Mr. Beast burgers from there, and then they would deliver. So you would
Was it
not have
good?
a brick and mortar store that you could ever go to get a Mr. Beast burger,
Right.
because they would just kind of sublet, if you will, these
Right.
different kitchens.
Yeah, the ghost kid. Did you ever try it? So you tried one?
Yeah, yeah, it was fine. It wasn't
Was
anything
anything?
earth-shattering,
Is
but
In and Out better?
it was a good deal. And that was his whole deal is I want to make this affordable for people to be able to order some food. So
Yeah.
good on him.
Really? That's mind-blowing to me. But yeah, going back into the 2000s and all this, bringing back so many memories, like I remember just the one thing again, I brought it up to Adam. I love my low-rise jeans. And now because I work out. Do you know, Scotty, I work out now every single
I
day.
I was astounded by this information because there were so many times that you had stopped and started and tried different things,
Yep.
and but that you're consistently getting up. And what do you do every morning?
Every single morning at 4:30, I'll get up and I've got like this shaker thing that is really good to drain your lymphatic nodes. And I had an accident. I was hit by a car and it really fucked my leg up. Sorry for the language, by the way. It hasn't changed. But I had
This will be an explicit episode.
Yeah, no. But it when I would start going to physical therapy, they put me on the shaker, which really helps tighten your core. And I
So is
had
this like a belt that goes around you and it,
no, it's a whole machine that you stand on and
oh,
hold
you
on.
stand on, I've seen those. Yeah, and it's like a little earthquake that you're just kind of
Correct.
trying to you
Right.
have to
So
tighten up your abs and
yeah.
yeah.
So I start off my morning with that, and then I do 10 minutes of that, and then I do the free weights with it and squats, so while I'm on it.
Whoa.
So I
Yeah.
do squats up and down while it's shaking. I then do the extensions with the arm curls and flies. Then I put that down, and then I get on the treadmill and I run for 30, and then I'm done. And I do that every
Yeah.
day,
That's
even on
awesome.
Sunday, religiously. Sometimes I can't because I'm working on a shoulder injury, but yeah, isn't that insane? Who would have thought?
Yeah, I love it. It's
Yeah,
very inspiring.
me too. Me too. I tell Alan like it's the greatest thing best money I've ever spent where I ever spent were those two things. And I originally put it in our living room so that in order to get to the kitchen, I'd see it. And if I wasn't using it, and all I
Yeah.
see is money I wasted because I'm a bitch on a budget, and it would irritate me that am I really this losery? I'm not going to get on it. It's going to become something people hang clothing on. No, I'm going for it. And so that's what I've done now for 2 years. two
That's
years
that's
straight.
really cool.
Oh, you could see the results. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody who's seen pictures of Hudson recently, she gets compliments all the time.
And there's nothing more annoying in life than someone who starts a fitness plan and then starts to tout it and make you feel bad for not doing anything, and then they're out of it within a few weeks.
Right. They're
Just,
done. They're
just
done.
do it for a while, then come talk to me about what you're doing, and
Yeah.
that's why we can respect Hudson with her workout plan. Good job.
Well, thank you very much. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm a fan. So being able now to fit into all these old low ride jeans from
Yeah.
thousands, score! I hit the jackpot because that's all I got in the platform
The
shoes. And
women were running around basically doing the plumber thing if they ever dropped anything.
Well,
That was awkward.
when are we going to see all that like hairsprayed hair of the 80s? When people would have that Aquanet hair, because I haven't seen that come back yet. I've seen the mullet. There's a few
And the
mullet.
bell bottoms. Bell bottoms came back from the
bell
70s.
bottoms are back.
Bottoms are back. Theo Von's got the mullet.
With all this, Apple just confirmed that they were letting Siri do a little Snoopy on you. So if you were getting ads after you just so happened talked about Olive Garden, then you got an email
Yeah.
regarding Olive Garden. Boom, just because they finally admitted that there was sneaky going on and there's a class action lawsuit. So if by any chance you had an iPhone during the time of 2014 and 2024, and you might have gotten an email after a conversation, go to the Apple website and sign up. You have until July the 2nd to claim your $25.
Do
You're
you
welcome.
remember $25? Do you remember? Oh, yeah, just spy on me for a while. I'll give
Yeah,
you $25.
yeah,
You remember we put that to the test in the studio
you
because
did.
a red mixer or mixing bowl, I think was the thing that Hudson came up with. And we just kept saying it randomly just to see. And sure enough, an ad showed up
For a
for
red,
red mixing bowl.
red mixing bowl. We did the
Yeah.
most random stuff to see if it was listening to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of crazy. Do you remember what kind of phone you had? What was your first phone, Alan?
I think my first phone was a Nokia.
It was a Nokia. Was it a
I
flip?
remember it was a Nokia and it had that game Snake. If you guys remember that game, it was like the
Hey,
one game that came on the phone where you had to sort of like keep turning the snake till it hits its tail. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
it was a solid little metal heavy phone, but it was a Nokia.
Scotty, do you remember yours?
I do. I had the big brick from Honolulu Cellular. It was gigantic and had an antenna on the top that would stick out of my briefcase. because I wanted it to, because I wanted people to know I had a cell phone, because that was very
There's no
important.
way you like that actual big brick. It looked like a
That
big.
The,
sounds like
yeah,
those are the ones that people used to have in their car, like the original car phone. Remember that?
it was like that, but this one was the standalone. You could hold it. Now, here's the thing, though. It was 90 cents a minute when the cell phones first came out.
90 cents a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
then Honolulu Cellular would send you this little pamphlet each week, a little almost like a thing that told stories about how people were using cell phones because it was kind of a newer technology. So what one story in particular I remember was someone was getting robbed and a guy runs up and hits him in the head with a cell phone and they run off. He picks up the phone, beans them again with it. Then he picks it up and calls 911. And they said, this is what a cell phone can be used for.
That's insane. I,
Yeah.
I think I had a Nokia too. I think it was like a bluish color.
yeah.
And there was nothing fancy about it. But then I do remember upgrading and, the Crackberry.
Well, they
Yeah,
weren't.
I remember when phone calls were all you could do on a phone.
Oh, I remember at
It
the
was
beginning
like,
of my career because I've always been slow on technology, and so at the beginning of my career, I was remember doing therapy with kids, teenagers, and they'd come walking in with their smartphones, and they'd make fun of my phone because my phone didn't have all their capabilities. But it took me a long time to get on board with that stuff of streaming and watching videos on my phone, and but now today it is really how a lot of people listen to things, especially in the car. I mean, I think everybody is Bluetoothing, maybe even
yeah.
this episode as they drive around.
Yeah. And of course, I remember having that same talk when I gave my email to someone and it was at AOL.com.
Oh,
And
that name. Oh, hold on. What was the beginning dial tone that you would hear? Which
yeah,
As it would connect.
toot, 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 right?
yeah,
Something like that. It was the days of my
you've got
My
mail.
my parents
yeah,
still have their AOL address. Like that was their original address, and they kept it.
MySpace
Yeah.
top eight.
My I don't know if I should say this out loud. My Apple ID thing still has AOL in it. So
No
I
way.
can't seem to change it. I don't know how to change it.
Wow,
So
you
and
are really old school. Do you have
what was weird though is I tried to recover it at one point because I needed an actual email that something went to AOL and I didn't know how to log into my AOL anymore. So I'm stuck.
It's
They're like,
wow.
funny
oh
how
well,
tech has changed, when you think about what Yahoo was. Do you remember it? Now
yeah,
it's all Google. It's been Google for decades or more
yeah.
maybe. But it's
And
like
Yahoo's
Yahoo,
just fantasy sports mostly for
betting
people.
sports and finance, I guess. Exactly. People
You
are
know
putting
what I wish would like one of those things, and this is just a song, and I'm so sorry. But out of all the music that I have played for all these years, I still somehow am playing this song. And I wonder if you know what it is. And I despise this song. I'll give you one shot. Alan, no, you can't play. It'll have to be Scotty on this one. I'm still playing it on the radio because I'm still on the radio in San Francisco and in Los Angeles, and it still gets played. I hate it. I hate this song. The band starts with a G.
ugh.
Well, it can't be the Gorillas.
No, I love the
They're awesome.
Gorillas.
They're awesome. Um, Goo Goo Dolls.
What's the song?
Uh, d- 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 I don't know. We just had the Goo Goo Dolls here. They were pretty good.
Iris.
Iris. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so sorry for fans who love that. I never understood why. It's like I just want to remove it from my playlist permanently. No
I
offense to the
like Iris.
songs.
It's a good
Maybe
song.
because I've just played it so much and for so long,
Yeah.
for so many years. Yeah, that's one song I don't want to ever come back. Like when I'm old, I don't want that to come.
Yeah. That
Maybe
and
that.
maybe more than words. I don't think I could hear that song ever again.
How
Oh,
does
I
it go?
love it more than words too. Extreme, right?
That's extreme. It was not, I'm
Yeah.
not saying the song, these are not bad songs, maybe if you're listening that in the beginning, they're just songs that never went away and they were played so many times. And it's just,
It's funny though how you don't know during a time when a song's popular if it's one that will last forever. There's some that you are surprised like they're still around. Maybe Iris is an example of that.
Yeah.
Then there's others that went away and you'll hear it and you'll go, where did that song go? You know?
have you
Like
guys seen?
Beck made a come. Beck started a long. We first brought Beck out in Hawaii. We did that show with him, which
Yeah.
I mentioned. I'm friends with Beck right now. So one of the cool things is Beck is back and bigger than ever now. Like, which is sort of, even those old reboots of like Loser and
Yeah. Yeah.
just there's so many hits. But it's fun talking, the 2000s and we
Oh
we
yeah.
we
Watching Jack Black and Jimmy Fallon do Extreme, if you guys have seen that on on this show or on YouTube, it is hysterical. They shoot the video like frame by
Oh,
frame.
frame for frame. I love
And
that.
so it's Jack Black and Jimmy Fallon as Gary Sharon and Nuno Bettencourt from Extreme doing More Than Words. And it's so good if you get a chance to watch it.
I would be interested, the folks that can comment on this and whatever platform you're on. What is it? What is the song that you are so like Hudson, like you just can't stand? It's still popular and you just don't get it. Or what's the one that went away that you wish didn't?
Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh.
Like, there's a song, it's funny. This is
I know.
out of the format, but D Light, Groove is in the Heart.
Groove is in the
Every
heart.
time that comes
Oh
on, I
yeah.
get happy. Why
I
is
love
that
that
not on the
song
radio?
too.
You remember we were watching
That's
that
something
thing,
we agree on, Scotty.
I come from a land down under.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's Men at Work.
Oh no, no, no. I remember what it was. We were watching the video for Safety Dance
Oh
by
yeah, yeah.
do you remember that one? That
Um, um,
Safety.
the
Safety.
safety
Dance.
dance
we do
from
the
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah.
I don't know.
You can dance if you want to. You
yes,
can.
Your
exactly. That's the
Yes.
one.
questions.
Yes.
Friends don't dance. Dun,
Is
dun,
it
dun,
Men Without Hats?
dun.
Was that?
It could be Men Without Hats, and it was the most crazy video.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like a Renaissance fair, and there's a dwarf,
Yes.
and they're all
And they
dancing.
had the pole they twirl around on the
Yes. We
Yes, they go
remember the
around
the
video.
ribbons.
yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, sometimes watching these things and talking about things, it just brings back so many
Yeah.
fond memories. We'll jump into some more memories.
it
We
is.
got to wrap this up.
Okay, I know we don't have that much time, but I'll just say that like I see a lot of young people and just obviously because we have teenagers and it is amazing to see the retro of a lot of that stuff from the 90s. People are wearing it again, and especially heavy metal.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
a weird
oh,
one that there's like Pantera is back and like some of the thrash metal that I'm
oh,
surprised.
thrash metal is back.
Yeah, yeah, like
And
I
hard heavy metal. My
yeah,
son Julian, who Scotty knows very, very
Oh
well,
yeah.
hip
Since he
hop
was
dancer in everybody's music video, loves Disturbed now.
oh
Loves
okay.
like where were you back in 2003 when we were banging that? He was in our studio on the
Yeah.
in a
He
crib.
was taking it as subliminally.
He
He,
must have.
it was getting into him.
Yeah.
But the other thing is and I'll wrap up with this. A lot of the music, I'm like, how do you know that song? And they'll say it was from a video game,
Yep.
you know? So a lot of the video games are bringing that music and when we're like, oh, we can agree on listening to a song right now.
Yeah, but definitely leave a message below. Like the song that you wish would die off, that you
Mhm.
still continue to hear, you want it to go away, and the one that you wish would stick around. Like, what was
Yeah.
that song for you? Like, that's a good one, Scotty. Alan Wagner, the therapist, our celebrity therapist, Scotty Blaisdell, were Mike in mind.
Oh, and thanks to Adam Sachs.
yes,
Oh,
definitely,
that's right.
definitely.
Adam, that was crazy to have Adam
Yeah,
just jump
yeah.
on randomly at 2 o'clock in the morning from Bali. Really cool. Yep, the shirt, a reminder.
Love it.
Our Mike in mind. Thanks. Make sure you like and subscribe.
See ya.